Welcome to New York's #2 sports show. The New York Giants select Malik Nabers, wide receiver from LSU, for their #6 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. So there was a lot of discussion about maybe the Giants would land a quarterback. And I knew that was always going to be difficult to pull off for the fact that they were picking 6th. And I think that this was the correct move by Joe Schoen, given what was available to him. Do I still wish, and, I was upset about it at the time. Do I wish the Giants would have had a top 3 pick? Absolutely. And I believe that they did have a top 3 pick. I do think that they would have taken any of the top 3 quarterbacks, whether it be Williams, Daniels, or May, wherever they ended up. And I think that they were trying to land Drake May from the Patriots for the #3 pick. But I get it. From a Patriot perspective, they need a quarterback. Why would they pass up on him? That never quite made sense to me. And so everything kind of lined up as you thought it would, with Caleb Williams going first to the Bears. Then it was Jaden Daniels to the Commanders, and then Drake May to the Patriots, Marvin Harrison to the Cardinals. And then at 5, I guess I wasn't totally sure what would happen, but the Chargers took offensive tackle Joe Alt from Notre Dame. And so at that point, obviously there was a lot of J.J. McCarthy discussion. I would not have wanted to do that. So I'm glad they stayed away from that. They could have, and we've seen crazier things. In fact, Michael Penix was picked 8th by the Falcons, which was a huge surprise. The fact that he was taken that high, but also that they had just signed Kirk Cousins to a pretty big deal. And then McCarthy goes 10 to the Vikings, who move up one spot to do so. And then the Broncos take Bo Nix at 12, which was pretty shocking. And I know that the QB values are going to be inflated for sure. That's just the way it is. But, I think that you could have gone Rona Dunze from Washington. That would have been I think they were probably between Nabers and a Dunze. But Nabers was always the consensus selection at #6 from the moment that the season ended. Really, I think that was the most mocked player of the Giants was Nabers. I just wasn't sure if a trade of some sort was going to happen, but it just never lined up. And I'm going to take this more as a positive because it's 2 separate conversations. It's dead and gone. The idea that the Giants were going to pick in the top 3. They lost they won games that put them in this position. But it may end up working out. Malik Nabers is no joke. I think, in another year, he could have easily been the #1 wide receiver and a top 5 selection. But Marvin Harrison was always seen as #1. There were apparently some scouts out there that prefer Nabers. But look, I think if the Giants had their choice, they would have taken Harrison. But Nabers, it's ironic that he's from LSU. That's where he went to school, because the Giants haven't had a bona fide #1 wide receiver since Odell Beckham Jr., who the Giants drafted in the first round out of LSU. So Nabers, I've seen comparables to Jamar Chase, which is just, if he's anything close to that, that'd be great. He put up crazy numbers. Last season at LSU, 89 catches, 1,569 yards, and 14 touchdowns. So, when you're putting up numbers like that, that is, you can't ignore it. And he's explosive. He can, he seems not only electric, but polished as well. So, good route runner, can take a short pass and, take it to the house. So this is a no doubt about it #1 wide receiver, which the Giants need. And so that's where I'm not going to get all that upset, because this was one of the holes they needed to fill. Quarterback is, of course, the most important position. And look, what happens with Daniel Jones, we'll see. We'll see in the long run. But for the 2024 season, your team is exponentially better with Malik Nabers and beyond as well. So I certainly have no issues with it. I think most of Giants Nation would probably agree with the overall thought. with where they were, this is where, you had to go for many, many reasons. And I hope, especially in the case of Jaden Daniels, since he's in the division, but with Daniels and I guess to another extent Drake May, I just hope that those quarterbacks don't become stars, because that would sting a bit. But, Nabers, is it safe? Yeah, but it's also exciting. It really is. There is definite flash and juice to this pick. So excited to see Malik Nabers in blue. And, hopefully he can be a star for the team. He seems like he could be very special. So we'll see what the rest of the draft provides. I know last year I did an episode on what took place in the second and third round. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And, kind of depends on the selections and what's in store. I mean, as far as team needs, Giants definitely need help in the secondary, specifically cornerback. So that would help, of course. And look, I always feel like, in terms of beefing up the offensive line, I'm always a fan of that. But there's definitely other positions. And look, at this point, you really do go best available for the most part. So it may kind of fall in line either way, but we'll see what's provided. The Giants traded away their second-round pick to Carolina in the Brian Burns deal. And so they have the Leonard Williams Seattle Seahawks pick at 47, and then I believe their own pick in round 3. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But Malik Nabers, he's a New York Giant. Joe Schoen does the prudent and wise thing, doesn't go after one of the lesser-tiered first-round quarterbacks. He goes with the best player on the board, and it's Malik Nabers. So he is a Giant. And now we will see what transpires in the rest of this 2024 NFL Draft.